Hi guys, I hope everyone's well. I wanted to jump on here today to talk about a topic that is a very special interest of mine and something that has been playing on my mind the last few days, and that is Casa Amor in Love Island. And I wanted today to look at the boys in Casa Amor as almost a scientific experiment and talk about why do boys cheat so much on lads' holidays, and girls as well. Girls cheat just as much, but what is it about a holiday that makes people think that cheating on their partner is okay, and why do so many people do it? So let's start with a bit of backstory on what Casa Amor is if you are not aware. Casa Amor is a week away from the main villa of Love Island. So Love Island is an ITV show where they bring a bunch of sexy singletons together and they try to find love, and the public can vote on their favourite couple, and that couple can either split 50k or one of the couple could steal it. Now, from what I remember, no one's ever stolen the money, so that's kind of pointless, but it would be really interesting to see that, especially the public backlash would be insane. So, as I said, for 1 week of the show, the boys or the girls will go to a different villa. They are split up and they go to a new villa called Casa Amor. For example, in this season, while the boys are in Casa Amor, they get to meet 6 new girls, because there are 6 boys. They get to meet 6 new girls and can decide whether they want to pursue them or stick with the girls that they have back at Love Island. And the girls at the original villa also have 6 boys come in, and they too have to decide whether they want to get to know these boys or whether they want to stick with their partners. Now, as we saw in Love Island this year, the girls stayed very, very loyal. Every single girl, bar Chloe, who is in a friendship couple, slept outside on the day beds and in the living room. They didn't speak to the boys, they didn't even give the boys the time of day. Whereas the boys in Casa Amor treated it like a lad's holiday and just went crazy. They were all over these girls from the get-go. I mean, you can't deny it. The girls were absolutely stunning, but so were the men. The men they brought in were just lush. And so it makes you think, why were these girls so loyal to these men and the men were just straight in there with the new girls? Like, what is that? Like, how does that work? And so I've done some digging and I have some stats on how many people actually do cheat when they're on holiday, and also a theory that I've heard of before but is one that I want to go into, which is the grass is greener on the other side theory, where you could have a person in front of you who's 90% what you want, but someone comes in with that extra 10% that they don't have, and you're more likely to go for them just because of that 10%. So let's get into it. So I have some facts here in my little notebook about holidays and what people get up to on holidays. So this is out of 2,000 people. 13% cheated on their partner while they were on holiday with said partner, which is mad. 25% cheated on stag or hen do, so as I said, it's men and women. 34% cheated when they were on holiday with their friends. And I have some interesting insight into the boys of Love Island with this one, because I definitely feel that sometimes boys will cheat because their because their friends are egging them on, and if their friends weren't there being that devil on their shoulder, then maybe they would have never done it in the first place. 19% of people have cheated on a work trip. Madness. Like, that's not the sort of business you should be getting into. And 4 in 10 said it was a mistake, and we have a guy from Love Island that we will look into with that sort of analogy of going on a lad's holiday. And the shocking thing is 20% of these 2,000 people said they would do it again if their partner didn't find out. Now that is the most shocking thing, and I feel that encapsulates one of the boys from Love Island, who's called Liam, perfectly. Because, and I'll give you a bit of a recap, Liam, throughout his time at Casa Amor, was all over this girl called Lily. He was basically obsessed with her. He was making out with her. He was with her in the challenges. He was basically leading her on to think that she was going to go back to Love Island with him. However, when it came to the recoupling, Millie, the girl he was with pre-Casa Amor stayed with him, stayed loyal to him, and he returned alone, making it look as if he had stayed loyal to her as well. Now, of course, I'm assuming the producers had a hand in this, and Lily entered the villa to say goodbye to everyone and told them that her and Liam had been very romantic on this trip, which obviously upset Millie a lot and caused a huge ruckus. So he seems to be the type where he would go on a holiday, as he did to Casa Amor. He would crack on with a girl that he liked over there, but then he would go back to what he had already, because that was a summer fling and this is a full-time romance, and that's not okay. Like, doing that does not make it okay, but I will get more into that in a moment because there's so much to talk about with this topic. Like, it's insane what these people think they can get away with. So out of those 2,000 people, you can see that so many people do decide to cheat. So many people do go off on holiday and think that it's a free pass to do what they want. And if this hasn't been communicated with your partner and been allowed in your relationship, then that's not okay. Like, you should not be doing that to your partner because you should be with that partner. It's quite shocking that these boys, even though they do say you forget that the cameras are there and stuff, but they're still on a TV show at the end of the day, they're still wearing mics that they have to put on and stuff, are happy to do this stereotypical lads holiday cliche to everyone in the United Kingdom and wherever everyone else is watching. Do you know what I mean? Like, what happens on tour stays on tour, but not on Love Island. Like, even if Liam had come home on his own and Lily didn't drop the bombshell of what he was doing, Millie could still find out by rewatching those episodes, or when she leaves, looking online and seeing what people are saying. It's absolutely insane that while some boys will think they can trust their friends not to tell their partners that they've been cheating on holiday, and that does happen, but with these boys, they were acting the exact same as they were there, but on TV. Like, that's the difference. There's evidence. There's evidence. It's mad. And so I wanted to look at, why do these people think it's okay to cheat? Why do these people do this stuff? And one of the theories that I talked about at the start, and one that I really enjoy looking into, is the grass is greener on the other side theory. Now, the grass is greener on the other side is a big quote that I've heard since I was little, and all about how you can have something great, but the grass is always going to be greener somewhere else. It's like Wes used to say on an older Love Island about how he's happy, but he could be happier. It's basically the same thing. And as I described at the start, you could have a girlfriend who is 90% what you want. You could have someone who is smart, who is charming, who is loyal, who is sweet, who is attractive, who is everything you could dream of, but there's that niggle of that 10% they don't have. And then you go off to Casa Amor and you meet a girl who is only 10% what you like. She's not 90% like her over here, she's 10% like her over here, but because she's that 10% that you have been missing, you think that's better because she is the part that you are missing. But you are so blindsided by that 10% that you don't remember the other 90. It's almost like you don't appreciate what you have, and so you always are running after the next thing. But if you're always running after the next thing, you're never going to be happy. Much like Toby in the show, where every time a new girl comes in, he's basically cracking on with them. I'm amazed he didn't try out on Laura Whitmore, to be honest, because that boy is moving mad. He's insane. But it's fascinating to see these boys in action. Like, it is such a social experiment because you get to see it firsthand, what these boys are like on their holidays. And for Millie to be this sweet, very loyal, very charming, like you could take her home to your parents and have good chat with her and have funny times and banter and all that. And to see her being blindsided by Lily, their names being very similar doesn't help either, who again is so attractive and clearly has some smarts about her and has some depth to her. But the fact that Liam had spent so long getting to know Millie, and the second Lily walks in and he's gone, is shocking and shows that clearly there was a part of Millie that he was missing. And I think the part that he was missing with Millie was that he likes to flirt and he likes to joke, and the fact that he thought he could get away with it because Millie wasn't there shows that he isn't truly 100% on Millie, because he wouldn't have done that if he was. He wouldn't have tried it on another girl if he was all about her. look at Teddy. Now, we're going to get into different types of boys on lads' holidays, and Teddy is one of them. He was so loyal to Faye. He was sleeping on the daybed. He wasn't looking at another girl, but because they played Truth or Dare, and he kissed another girl, and that got sent back to the villa through the postcard, Faye recoupled because she thought that he was being unloyal to her. And it's so easy how these things can get twisted and misconstrued because of how things are presented. She didn't know it was a Truth or Dare game. She didn't know that it was just a game thing and there wasn't any meaning or any depth to it. And then if you think about Millie only saw Liam in bed with Lily, Liam being on his side, Lily on her side. There was no cuddling involved in the picture. He had been out there putting it all on Lily the whole time, but Millie didn't see that. So really what Faye saw Teddy doing was what Millie should have seen Liam doing, because that's the way around it should have been, simply. But they're not going to do that because it's Love Island, it's producers, they've got to cause drama, they've got to keep the interest, and so they have to cause issues with all the relationships because otherwise it's not Love Island. So I wanted to break down each of the boys in Casa Amor and talk about who they would be on a lad's holiday, because I think they are literal caricatures of what different lads are like. Now, I'm a woman, in case you can't tell, I am a girl, and so I have never been on a lad's holiday, but I have heard plenty about lads' holidays and about boys who have been very unloyal to their partners, not only on holidays but just in day-to-day life as well. And so I feel I've got a good hand at looking at different types of men and why I think they did what they did and what that means really for us girls. Like if our boyfriends suddenly come to us and say, hey, can I go on a lad's holiday after watching Love Island, do you really think it's going to be the easiest thing to say yes to? Because I don't think so. That's quite scary, to be honest with you. And so I describe them as different players in the game. So Casa Amor is a game, is a test, as they keep saying, and they have brought in these 6 beautiful girls to see if the boys' relationships are as strong as they appear to be. And so they're all playing a game. They all have an end goal and they all want to be the final couple. But does that mean that the couple that they left behind in Love Island is the couple that they will end up with after Casa Amor? So let's go through the list. So the most obvious one, the single, was Hugo. Hugo was in a friendship couple before he went to Casa Amor. That's why Chloe was the main girl to crack on with the lads back at Love Island, and he obviously had his pick of the bunch of the girls. Luckily he found a girl that he came back with, although we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But he is simply the perfect specimen for a lad's holiday. He's a boy who has no responsibilities at home, no relationships, nothing that he has to worry about back home, and he can just go out there and enjoy himself and take the pick of the girls. He is scot-free, he can do what he wants, he's fine. And so Hugo is an easy one to talk about because he's literally out there doing what lads should do on lads' holidays. The next one I want to talk about is The Boy. Now, I'm not talking about the terrible horror film that came out a few years ago, but I'm talking about Toby. Now, Toby, as we have seen throughout the whole show, has been absolutely awful with staying loyal to his partners. He had Kaz, then he had Chloe, then he had Abby, and now he's got, I can't remember who he's got now, but he's now got a new girl, Mary. He's got Mary, and he just keeps flicking back and forth. And the thing with Toby, as he has said plenty of times himself, he's never been in an actual relationship. He's never been completely settled on a person. And I think that's part of the issue of Love Island choosing such young people is, when I was 20, 21, 22, I didn't want to be settled. I didn't want to be this person that wanted to be like tied down. My life was just beginning, and although I was in a relationship between the ages of 18 and 23, when I got out of that relationship, I did have some single time where I just spent time on my own because that's what I needed. I didn't need another responsibility. And now I've got a boyfriend who's absolutely fantastic and the best outcome from that situation. And I feel that's Toby. Of course, it's Love Island. You have to be in a couple. You can't not be in a couple. You can have a friendship couple, sure, but Toby's out there being a flirt, being a boy, being young and carefree and enjoying himself, but at the expense of others. he wants to have his cake and eat it, and it's shocking how he flits from girl to girl to girl so easily and doesn't really care. So if you think about the boy in the friendship group, he's the one that, yes, has a girlfriend at home or has a girl he's seeing back in London, for example, but he's only been seeing her for a couple of weeks or a couple of months. It's nothing serious yet, even though she thinks it could be more. And so while he's still messaging her out there, having a chat, he's still got a new girl in bed because why not? He's young and free and he can do that. And the only issue with Toby versus the boy in a lad's holiday is Toby came home with a new partner. He brought his summer romance home with him, and his previous coupling with Abby stayed single. Abby stayed single for him, and it's mad. And the second he got home, he was back to Abby again. So it's just absolutely insane. And so I feel Toby is one of those boys that he will be chatting to girls back home, being like, having a great time, wish you were here, all that, while having a different girl in his bed every night. And yeah, all I can say to you girls is if your boy is going on a lad's holiday and you have not made it exclusive with him, then don't trust him to not do anything. Almost expect it, because while some people could be loyal if they see a future with you, if you are just someone they've been chatting to for a couple of months and they're just getting to know you, then be pretty certain that they're going to be getting to know other people too, because what makes you so special in that situation? As horrible as that sounds, it's so true, because boys will be boys, and when they're around the other lads that I have written down here, you can see why their eyes wander and why their heads turn. So the next boy I want to talk about is Tyler. Now Tyler had been getting to know Kaz. We thought he was really good with Kaz, but he decided to pursue a different girl in Casa Amor, and I call Tyler, his playing card is the Chancer. He is the boy that has taken his chance on the grass being greener on another side. He clearly likes Kaz. They've been very good. She was super loyal with him when she got the postcard and saw that he was kissing someone else in bed of all places. She was crying over him. I'm glad that she then cracked on, because she deserves so much better than that. And to be fair, girls, that's how we should all be responding. We should be cracking on with other lads when we know our lads aren't being loyal, because why can't we play them at their own game? Do you know what I mean? And so to me, Tyler is a chancer. He is the one that takes his chance and he runs with it if he enjoys it. He is not someone to sit back and put his eggs in one basket. He is ready to pursue other things. And so he is definitely a grass is greener on the other side sort of guy, because he saw the girl that he went for, that I can't remember the name of off the top of my head, which is terrible. He saw the girl that he went for and he just went for it and he ran with it. And I do wonder, as it is Saturday now, it was the recoupling yesterday, you're watching this on Wednesday, so you'll have more knowledge than me. I do wonder if he is going to be more loyal to the Casa Amor girl than he was to Kaz, or whether a new girl will come in and again his head will be turned, because it seems out of sight, out of mind is his sort of mantra. And if he can pursue things without having the reaction from other people in real time, then he will do that. Because as we saw in the preview for Sunday night, which you'll have seen by now, there seem to be a lot of heated arguments going on, and I do wonder if he's finally realising that what happens on tour doesn't actually stay on tour, and he has to deal with the repercussions of his actions. He's a chancer and he doesn't think about what that's going to mean for anything else. He's only thinking about himself and his little friend downstairs and what he wants in that moment. And in that moment he wanted her and he didn't think about Kaz. The next one, and I'm going to leave my main two for last because I think they're the most exciting. The next one is the mistake. Now, as we saw in the facts that I read out, 4 out of 10 people believe that their summer romance or their one night stand or whatever was a mistake and wasn't meant to happen. Teddy is the mistaker. He is the boy that got wrapped up in the tomfoolery of the other lads, because the only time, apart from in the challenge, which is obsolete, doesn't matter, the only time he kissed a girl was during Truth or Dare with the other boys. Now, if we cast our minds back all that way, the boys did Truth or Dare, which meant that they did a lot of kissing, some lap dances, all that sort of stuff, whereas the girls just did Never Have I Ever, which only involved drinking. So it's annoying because you don't want to make excuses for these people, but the girls they handled it. They deserve so much better. But Teddy got wrapped up in the fun of it all. He got wrapped up, and it was the first night. He wasn't clearly thinking straight. And of course, for the rest of the time, he didn't even give these girls the time of day. He slept out on the day beds. He was so loyal to Faye after that, but he did that one slip up. And that one slip up cost him his relationship in the villa. And it's so sad to watch that moment with her, Teddy just sat on the floor, where I shouldn't laugh, but it's so surreal. Her Teddy sat on the floor when he came back because he was going to give it back to her. Is so sad and just so heartbreaking. And this is what happens when you get wrapped up in situations. You have to wonder where Teddy's head was at that point. Maybe he thought that Faye was doing the same. But if you haven't got those boundaries set in your relationship, if you haven't communicated properly, then a kiss can just be make or break, simply. And unfortunately for Teddy, he was dealt a bad hand, and it is such a shame that this happened. And I feel with communication, maybe they can reconcile their relationship, but at the same time, this just goes to show that you need to have that solid foundation with your partner, and you can't just assume that what you're doing is what they're doing too. And so I do feel for Teddy, and I do think that's part of the issue with the lads' holidays, and I will get into Jake in just a minute, that they do get swept up in the whole situation and they just go along with what everyone else is doing. And when basically every single person in your friendship group is off snogging other people, you don't want to be missing out. You don't want FOMO, and you go along with it, and that's not okay. So I want to get on to Jake before we get on to the big snake of Liam. And Jake, yes, he did stay loyal to Liberty the whole time. He was a good little boy. He played his part, he did his time, he came back to his lovely girlfriend who, I mean, she's a stunner. She's like a queen in my books. But that doesn't mean that Jake was completely innocent in everything that happened in Casa Amor, because Jake's part he played in the whole situation was the enabler. Now, the enabler is the person that will tell you to do things and then sit back and see how it plays out. Jake was loyal. Jake was good. Jake did everything by the book that he had to do in his relationship, but that doesn't mean that he couldn't sabotage other people's relationships. As I said, they had little devils on their shoulders. I don't even know if that's the right shoulder. They have little devils on their shoulders that were telling them to pursue these girls, to see if the grass is greener, to see if they could be happier. And the ringleader of those little devils was Jake. Jake was the one that was constantly whispering in people's ears, constantly telling them about how happy they seem with Lily and Mary and all the rest. He was the one that was constantly there nagging at them, that little voice in the back of your head. And he can be just as bad as the rest, because yes, he didn't cheat, he didn't do anything wrong in his relationship, but he sabotaged a lot of other relationships, and he in some ways caused those relationships to break down and become what they did. He was the one saying to Liam to pursue Lily. He was the one who was talking to Tyler about if he could be happier in Toby, and how they've only known people a few days, and how they're not even together yet, and how this is the perfect chance to explore and see if their relationships are strong or not. Heads up, if you need to explore other people to see if your relationship is strong, it is not strong and you should not be in it. PSA, just saying. And so, while Jake on the surface in his relationship has done everything he should have, and he was a good little boy, he has ruined a lot of relationships, and he should be held accountable for that. Now, of course, you can say these boys didn't have to listen to him, but when there's peer pressure, when everyone else is doing it, when everyone is in a situation where they want to pursue other things and you don't want to be left out of that, you're going to do it too. And so now we come to the pièce de résistance, the man of the hour, the snaky snakerton, the one that we all love to hate, and that is our boy Liam. Now, despite Liam looking like he's 30 years old, he is in fact only 21, and as we've seen with Tommy Fury, age shouldn't play a part in relationships. He was so loyal to Molly May, and they've got a great relationship now, and they're only early 20s as well. But Liam is in that prime age of exploration. He is not a man that seems to want to really settle down. He is a man that wants his cake and eats it, and if that means he's got to stay loyal to Millie to get what he wants, he will. But don't think he's gonna stay that loyal once he's out the villa, because I really can't see her and him having a future. So what makes Liam so bad? Well, Liam has been, I just readjust, I'm like, let's go. Liam has been with Millie for about 2 weeks now, I think, maybe a little longer, and he has been spending every day with her. He has been sleeping in the same bed with her. He hasn't had a minute away from her in terms of building space, and yet the second he goes to Casa Amor, he seems to forget about her. He still references her all the time, saying that he wants to be respectful to her and be right by her and all that, but the way that he's acting does not say that, and he is clearly just using it as an excuse to excuse his behaviour. For Liam to be at that point with Millie, where they seem like a good solid couple and most of the public absolutely love them, for him to then do this is absolutely insane. And so I called Liam the flirt slash the snake. Now, in terms of Love Island, he's the snake, but in terms of lads' holidays, normal stuff, he is a flirt. He is a boy that wants his cake and wants to eat it, and he wants to be free to do what he wants while still having someone to cuddle at night, and that's not how it works. Liam, the second he got to Casa Amor, was blindsided by Lily. He was on her like fleas on a dog. He was gone, and it's ridiculous how quick his mind changed. And it shows how calculated he was too, because the fact is, he spent every day with Lily. He was with Lily constantly. Yes, he had a lot of him in turmoil about whether he should even kiss her or be with her or whatever, but he still spent so much time with her and clearly had an interest in her. For him to then return to the villa single. Now, we saw Millie's reaction. We all saw how she acted and how she felt about Liam's return, and she was ecstatic. She was so happy, because in that moment it looked like he had been loyal. It looked like he hadn't done anything and he was all for her, which we know is a complete lie. And if Lily hadn't come into the villa and told us what he had been up to so that Millie was aware, he would have got away scot-free. And that is the scariest type of boy in the world, because that boy, regardless of how he feels about you, is quite happy to lie. He is happy to lie to the person that should mean the most to him to get his way and to be able to carry on with this whole facade that he has going. He is scary. And he is not okay. Not only the fact that he messed Millie about so much, but the fact that he messed Lily about too. He had a summer romance with this girl. This wasn't a girl that he met in a nightclub and then took home and then never saw her again. This was a girl that he spent days investing time into to not even choose her, to not even want to be with her. She must be so confused about what that was, because if I saw a guy that was interested in me and then he chose someone else over me, I'd be like, well, you chose me over them, so why are you going back? Like, how does that make sense? Liam wanted some time away from Millie to see if him and Millie were strong, but if they were strong, he shouldn't have needed that time away. Maybe getting some time away to see how he responds to that. As we saw, Teddy was missing Faye. Teddy couldn't wait to get back into the villa, but Liam didn't think like that. He didn't think, oh, maybe this space will be good for us to make our relationship stronger. He thought, maybe this space will be good for us so I can crack on with other girls. And there's no way that any human being should get away with that, because that is disgusting and so deceitful to Millie, because she's at home thinking he'll be coming back on his own, and he does, and yet he's done all this. And this is the sort of guy that makes dating so scary, because you can never trust them. You can never trust them. No girl in this world deserves a man like Liam, and I say that wholeheartedly. And the fact, the nail in the coffin, the fact that when he came back to the villa, he said he was going to ask her to be his girlfriend. That shows how manipulative and how snaky he actually is. Can you imagine? He needs to work out if you're good enough to be his girlfriend by cracking on with another girl. What if he thinks, oh, is she wifey material? Should I go sleep with a load of other people to see if she's really worth putting a ring on? That's not how it works. You can't have a sudden blowout. Apart from those 25% that cheated on their stag and hen do's, you cannot have that massive blowout to get your singleness out, because there comes a time where that person is all you're going to know. If you want to stick it out and be with them forever, there's going to become a time where that person is all that you will know, all that you will be able to be with, unless they agree to be in an open relationship with you. And so if you can't even, after 2 weeks of spending time with them, be loyal to them in a way that they are to you, then how can you spend the rest of your life with them? How can you be loyal to them for years? How can you be loyal to them outside the villa? He left the villa for 4 days and cracked on with another girl. How quick is he going to crack on with someone else the second he gets out back into the public domain? Like, it's ridiculous. It's so stupid. And I absolutely hate the Liams of the world, because they're the ones that give girls trust issues. And let's talk about girls and trust issues for a minute, because we saw that Faye opened herself up to Teddy and then broke down because of everything that happened. We saw Kaz cry over Tyler, who definitely didn't deserve it, and we saw Millie fretting over what Liam was doing. Why can't girls trust boys? And it's because boys do stuff like this. Boys act like this. Boys do things like this on national TV and think they can get away with it. Like, it's ridiculous. The amount of time and graft and trust it takes to build up a relationship with someone, for them to just break it in 2 minutes, is astronomical. It's ridiculous. And even if you're in a solid, stable relationship, past relationships can still mess that up, because of some idiot back in your past, you can't trust this amazing person in front of you. And it's such a shame. It's such a shame. And it's scary if you're a single woman watching these boys do what they do in the villa, not caring that they're on TV, not caring that they can get caught out when they come back to the villa acting as if they're single and have been, like, butterwood and melt in their mouths, you know? Like, the amount of stress and worry it causes a girl when they see men do stuff like that, it's ridiculous. And this is why girls have trust issues, because girls fall deep. Girls fall in hard, whether they want to admit it or not. You could have one date with a girl and she's already thinking about future dates and being your girlfriend and what your life could be like. And if you have any pets, meeting their pets and thinking what their family is like and their friends and wanting to explore that. They'll never tell you, but those thoughts are there. And so girls fall for guys so quick, but it seems guys don't do the same thing. Guys don't think on complex brain cells like that. They think about the now, they don't think about the future. And that's the issue, is how can you trust that your partner's not going to suddenly disappear one day because they've decided they don't love you anymore? How can you trust that the person you're with now is really them and not some facade that they've made up to make you fall for them? It's terrifying what these men can do, and it's such a shame that the boys they choose on Casa Amor often fail the test of being loyal and being even just nice to their partners because they've seen another hot girl. It's absolutely terrifying for any woman, and I do feel it's a feeling that will never go away, and it's such a shame. But yeah, Liam is the snake. He is the worst of the worst, and he is the boy that no girl should ever have to deal with, because they deserve so much better. They don't deserve to be treated in the way that he's treated them, regardless of if you're a Millie, regardless if you're a Lily. He put 4 days, nearly half the time. He put a quarter of the time he had with Millie into Lily and then just left her there. That's mad. That's absolutely insane. that he can put a quarter of his time into Lily and just be like, now bye, gonna go back to my girlfriend now, bye-bye. That's not what Greece told us. Summer loving, having a blast. Not summer loving, but don't tell my girlfriend who's at home because it'd break her heart. Thanks, bye. No, it's not okay. And so I want to finish this video on what we can learn from Casa Amor, because us girls have to realise that men ain't poop. I don't swear on my channel, but men ain't poop. They don't deserve us. We are goddesses, we are wonderful, and men suck. And yes, because I know I'll get comments, yes, women can be just the same. Women can be absolutely awful too. They can be cheaters and abusers and emotionally scarring and everything. But when you see people on TV get so invested in their partners and then go off to somewhere else where their partner isn't with them and completely switch 180 on them, it's terrifying and it's not okay. And I think what we need to realise as a society is that doing that sort of stuff isn't okay. I think a lot of people realise that. There are impressionable people who will watch Love Island and think that that's okay, or that's funny, or that's silly, or it's just banter. When it's not. It's emotions and it's real people being hurt for no reason because their partner can't decide whose bed they want to be sleeping in. And so what we can learn from Casa Amor in our real lives is that what someone says they are isn't always who they are. What people say can often just be words, and most times actions speak louder than words. And if you're not getting the reaction or the person that you're hoping for, that you think this person is, then they're showing their true colours, and you shouldn't have to put up with that. If you feel in your gut that something's wrong, then it probably is, and you can give that person the benefit of the doubt, but at the end of the day you have to put yourself first. And if you think something's wrong, you need to do something about that to make you feel better. If there's any red flags, if there's any moments that you think that this person is too good to be true or isn't what they say they are, then you need to expand on that. You need to work that out, and you need to figure out whether you're willing to give this person the benefit of the doubt and maybe get hurt, or whether you are going to get out of it and find someone else. Because at the end of the day, no one person should have the power over you to hurt you. No one should make you feel obsolete or bad. And the way that Millie must feel knowing that he was cracking on with another girl for the whole time of Casa Amor is disgusting, and no one deserves to feel like that. No one deserves to know that pain. And so while we can laugh at it and think, oh, it's just a TV show, it doesn't matter, in our day, in our lives, in our relationships, if our partner starts acting weird or decides to go on a lad's holiday and is very sheepish about telling you about it, or doesn't inform you on bits that you're asking about, like even just asking about their day, if they suddenly ghost you and usually they text you back immediately, just look into it, see what you can find out. Don't be crazy, but like, they might not be posting on their Insta stories, but that doesn't mean their friend isn't, you know what I mean? It's very easy to accidentally film your friend making out with someone else in the very crowded bar. Do you know what I mean? And so while Casa Amor is definitely a social experiment, these people are real people, and we should take learnings from them in that boys should see that this is not okay, and if you're not happy with someone, you should tell them before cracking on with someone else. And also girls, if you think something's wrong, usually it is, and you should feel that you have the right to find out what is wrong and work out what to do about that. And if you're not happy, get out. Don't just stay in it because it's comfortable or easy. You will find someone better, you will be happy. Look at Jamie and Camilla from Love Island a few seasons ago. Like, she was having a horrible time with stupid beard face, and then this model comes in and she's now got a kid with him. Like, things get better, you'll be okay. And don't trust lads' holidays. Moral of the story, if your boyfriend wants to go on a lad's holiday, don't trust him. Get out, run. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed it actually. I sat in Costa and did some exploration into this topic to find out what to talk about, and it was really fun. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you did. There'll be plenty more videos like this, and I will see you next time. Bye!